Sira, if you want to introduce yourself and what you do and how you got there.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Sira, and yeah, just to give you an introduction, I'm from Barcelona. I did my degree in human biology, and then I studied a master's in computational biomedical engineering. Although I was the only biologist there, and I had no idea of data or programming or anything. And then I had the opportunity to join a PhD program. So I decided to start my PhD, although it was not kind of my passion to do a PhD. It was more like, okay, I will just go with the flow and try to do some research that I like. There, I was doing computational biology and logic gates. I was in the synthetic biology field. Um, I managed to get my first publication in Nature Communications, which was really good. But afterwards, I realized that my life was still the same. I mean, it was a lot of effort and a lot of remaking and a lot of experiments for just one day, and the next day I was the same person. And I said, okay, I really like research, but maybe I don't like basic research. I prefer more applied, or that I can have like more impact in the environment, the society, or whatever. So then I decided to move to the entrepreneurship side while I was doing my PhD. And I was involved in different programs, in different accelerator programs. I was first in Crash, which was a program from Barcelona and Boston. And there I discovered what was the interaction with the real world, because I was doing a lot of interviews, like many interviews. Every week I had to do 10 interviews to potential stakeholders. And I think that it was super helpful, because when you're doing your research, maybe you're you're more focused on what is interesting and what can be valuable for the community to get like deeper, but maybe not on what is a good business idea or to solve a market pain. So I was pivoting many different industries. Like I was in infant formula to detect heavy metals. I was detecting toxins in mollusks. I mean, something really random. But then I discovered a real market need, which is the presence of pathogens in fish farming. Um, I don't know if you're aware that more than half of the fish that you eat, if you eat fish, comes from fish farming, and they lose around 30% nowadays because of pathogens. And there's no way to anticipate these occurrences. So we are building a device to completely change this. And yeah, when I found out that I had a real market opportunity with a real pain validated with many interviews, I decided to finish my PhD, although it was a really quick journey, because I did it in 2 years, and the university allowed me to finish it. And I jumped to the company, and although I was a solo founder, I decided to join this amazing adventure.
Actually, that's a good to my next question. You just mentioned you're a solo founder. I know here we have a couple of people that want to get started, but they don't have the co-founder, so they kind of not going for it because they don't have this other person. Did you look for a co-founder, and when did you decide, no, actually, I'm just gonna do this alone?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was looking for a co-founder for sure, but I was in a really small lab, so we didn't have so many people that I could kind of co-found this company, and maybe we were too similar to be co-founders. I think that it's good to have a really complementary person on your side. So then I was joining a program called Team Up from EIT Food. and the whole idea of the program is you can apply as a business co-founder or tech co-founder, and then you find your match. So I found a really cool guy that I really liked from the business perspective. But then I wanted to be the CEO, and I really wanted to push this idea forward. And they were like putting me more on the tech side, which I liked, but also I liked other things. And in terms of business, when you're developing a scientific or more research-based idea, it's hard to have a super business-focused profile on your side when you don't have a technology that you can start selling. Or so it was hard for me to find the right person to join me. So I decided that sometimes it's hard to find what you are looking for, because it's the same as a personal relationship. It's hard to find the right partner. So I said, okay, I will start, and if I find someone along the way, I will be happy. Otherwise, I will be happy as well. So now, after 2 years and like almost 3 years, I have a co-founder. Like, it's a late co-founder, so it's a different role, but he will be kind of the CTO that I was looking for.
And do you have people in your team yet, apart from the founding? Like, did you hire people? How did you find them?
Mm-hmm. It's another hard thing, because usually you don't have money, but you need people. So basically, when I finished my PhD in 2021, 2022, I decided to incorporate the company, and I spent all this year alone, really understanding the market, because I'm not a professional in the fish farming industry, or I was not. So what I was doing was traveling to fish farms, not only in Spain, because I wanted to really validate that it was a global problem, because usually investors or even public institutions, they want to know that you are targeting a global need or a global opportunity, not just a super niche market that it's going to be hard to access. I was really understanding the market, understanding which are my potential customers, engaging with them, and applying for public funding, because I could not hire anyone, because I also wanted to build the first MVP, and I had to externalize the production. So after I received some money from public from the government, I decided to start hiring people. The first hire was a lab profile, which I really like, and I knew her from iGEM, because I was kind of a I don't know how it is called. I think it's called the instructor or in an iGEM team. So I knew this person, so then it was easier to incorporate her. And then I never posted a job offer. It was more based on I really like a company that has a super top hiring process, but they started talking to people, to like 3 different people that you would like them to work with you, but maybe it can be hard. So getting to these 3 people, and then these 3 people offering 3 more people, and then and so on and so on and so on. So I was following kind of this process to hire, to have at least a good reference that this person was really valuable and was worth to hire, because you cannot be wrong at hiring at the initial stages. I think that it's key. So, and now we are 8 people in the team.
So yeah, how did it work for your operations, like running the business, like going from one person to 8 people. How did you have to reorganize yourself? Did you have to like get an office? Like, did you have to find a lab? Like, where do you work right now?
Mm-hmm. The space area, it's not solved yet because it's really hard. I mean, basically we are building a device that works in an autonomous way, and it pumps water in, and then we analyze it with engineered biosensors. So we have a bit of bio, a bit of engineering, like more hardware stuff, and also software because we are analyzing everything and training machine learning algorithms. So we have kind of these 3 lines of technology. So we need a lab, we need somewhere to build the prototypes, and an office. And it was not compatible because Barcelona is completely crowded and you cannot find a space. So then I prioritized the lab because it's the more specific space that you need. So the university was renting me a space in a research building. So now we have this research lab, and everyone is working from home. We have like recurrent meetups in different places. Sometimes it's my place, sometimes it's the lab space. It really depends. And we have two spaces to build prototypes. So we are organizing this way. And in terms of me trying to lead all these people, what I was doing at the beginning, we were just 4. So it was 1 person for hardware, 1 for lab, and 1 for data. So it was kind of easy at the beginning. And then these other people that has been joining the team is led by these first profiles plus me. So it's easier to handle. But it's true that my day starts with lab and data, and lab and hardware, and then at 4 I moved to data because the data scientists were working from California, so I had this delay on time, and it was perfect for me. But yeah, sometimes it's hard, but it is what it is when you want to build a company.
Fair enough. And actually, when you were speaking, I was wondering, like, so you still do a lot of the lab work?
No, I'm not in the lab anymore. I really like it, but I don't have time. So I'm joining the lab team, but I'm not actively doing experiments.
Yeah, okay. So your role moved more to like management and fundraising and these kind of things.
Yeah. I would say I'm more on the vision and the different milestones that we need to reach, and how to organize everything and which path should we follow. But I'm not in the daily experiments yet.
Alexander is asking, can you describe your fundraising history? And what were the difficulties and what helped you overcome those challenges?
Okay. I will try not to bore you, but I started at the beginning. I was joining programs that had some help or some grant at the end. So this team up that I mentioned, there was a prize, a 40K prize, for the winners, and I was the winner, so we got 40K in the company. So this was kind of the first investment that came to the company. After
And did
that,
you already know you were doing the fish farming, or
more or
did you have the
less,
technology? But okay.
more or less, it was not super evolved, but there was kind of an idea. It was good because you didn't have to show anything. It was more like idea based. So then this money was going to the company, so it made me incorporate the company. So it was key to start. then as it was again all an idea, I decided to apply to some prizes, like prizes for ideas. So there's a grant from a bank, a Spanish bank. So I applied to that, and it was 10K. So I had a bit more. And then I decided to apply to Neotech, which is a Spanish grant from the government, and it's the maximum is 400K. So we got it. Also, I applied to Women in Tech from the EU. It's 75K, and we also got it. And additional to this public funding, again, I was pitching a lot to these prize competitions. So there was a prize organized by NTT Data, which is a really big telecom company, and they had a prize of 80K, like full prize. So I was pitching, and I won the national and international competition, and some other small prizes I won, but it was super small. But it was, I mean, a lot of time consuming. It's not for free, this all these prizes. So I mean, I was on the one hand, I was lucky, but I also had like the idea was really mature. They saw that I was 100% committed, that I did my job. Like I knew exactly which were my competitors, how big was my market. It was not like, oh, I have a question and I don't know how to answer. Or I was working a lot with the pitch, with the even how it looked. I think that it needs to be attractive for people to get engaged with what you're talking to, and that it had impact. So they could see really a problem and a solution, which is it's super basic, but it's not easy to find in projects. And now we are going to, well, at the end of 2022, it's true that I did a round of convertible notes of 100K with some business angels, because I felt that I was running out of money, or that I needed money to start hiring people before receiving all these public grants. And I knew a guy who had a business, who knew another guy who was a really active business angel. He actually co-founded Doctoralia, which was a really successful company here in Spain. And so I was like meeting with him in a cafeteria and saying, okay, I have this idea. Would you invest some money in there? And it was really in a friendly environment, which is why like the role of business angels, to be able to have are normal people which have some cash, some extra cash that they can invest, and they don't ask for a lot. I mean, it's now I'm doing recurrent meetings with them, but there's not a problem if we are delayed in the tech development, or like they are really friendly people. And now we are currently fundraising. I'm trying to raise 1.5 million, which is super hard, super hard. I'm actually exhausted, but because you receive a lot of no's. I think that the first stages are easier, but when you're getting more mature, it's harder and harder, and they ask for more. Like, okay, but show me some metrics. What are you achieving? And when you are a tech company, they don't understand that you have some development timing, that it is what it is, and you cannot do more. So on average, VC told me that you speak to around 90 VCs in Europe, and you get around 80 no's and 10 yeses. So you can imagine if you're talking actively to many VCs who tell you, oh, you have a really cool idea, it's amazing, blah blah, and after 1 week they say, oh, I'm sorry, but you are not. I mean, now I could open my inbox email and I have a no that I didn't want to read today, because I was like, no, I will read it tomorrow. But I think that it's normal, but we have some yeses, which are really strong yeses. And this is the important side, because you just need one or two to continue and keep going. But I would say seed stage, it's hard, which is where we are now.
A question about do you have a product yet that you can sell to clients? Like, where are you at your development? Because you talk to a lot of people in the industry already. I'd be curious.
Yeah, so we do have a product, and we have one active client and two that which are trying the product. So, because at the beginning, it's true that when you start the company, you dream big and you want to. I mean, as a scientist, I'm super perfectionist and I want to build the best machine possible, but sometimes it's not feasible if you because of the time to market. Sometimes it's too long. So what we decided to do was to build an easier or a simpler version of the first idea. I think that although at the beginning I thought that it was impossible. Do you think that it's not possible to simplify your ideas? It is, and that's what we did. So now we have a device which is not fully autonomous, so it requires a person to kind of add the sample and then they get the results back. But they can still see that we are bringing value to them. So afterwards, when we have more clients and we are starting having traction, we can sell the super cool machine that we are developing. But at least we have something that it's super important if you want to get the attention of VCs, saying, yeah, we already have clients and we are already bringing value to them, so it's a problem and they want to pay. Because that's one thing. I mean, look for something that people want to pay, because it's really hard. Yeah.
And what are, I don't know if you can share, but what are some of the things that you learned from selling to these clients, like the version that is the MVP of your product?
Mm-hmm. Well, it really depends in which industry you are going. We decided fish farming because, although my training is in human biology and I had no idea on fish anything, fish pathology. We decided this market because the time to market and the regulatory framework was easier and was faster. So we said, okay, let's start with a market that has less barriers to enter, and then move to maybe another sector, such as the healthcare sector. And in the fish farming industry, it's it's a big industry, but in Europe, it's quite small, and everyone knows everyone in the industry. And when you are a new player talking to a client saying that there has been this problem for a long, long time and I'm here to solve it, sometimes they don't trust you. And so now we are demonstrating that the machine works, that they can get the data they want, that we can bring the value they want. And so it's really good to have an innovation like ours, that we are bringing a new source of data that they didn't have before, which is anticipation. But then it's like, okay, but what we are doing with this data? So we are in this position of showing that they can trust us, and bringing this this community that trust what we are doing, but also learning with them as well, saying, okay, we are bringing this source of data. What the farm can do to improve their operations. So I thought that it was easier to sell than what it is in reality, and it's good to do it as soon as possible, because then you get better and better, and you can iterate faster.
Where did you learn somewhere how to sell, how to be an entrepreneur, how to hire, like, or did you just do it and learn along the way?
Like almost everything was go with the flow and try to do it as best as you can. But I was in two business programs that I was trained like more on the financial part, financial maybe market research, because I was not sure like what does it mean to do a market research or market study. I mean, I can understand the concept, but I don't know what do you want to see. So there I learned that they wanted to see how big is the market, which is the total addressable market, which is like to segment the market into different boxes, say, and to get like to do projections of potential market share that you can acquire along the year. So I was trained on these aspects. But then the reality is that although I was learning some financial concepts, now I'm doing I'm the monthly cash flow, and no one tells you how to do it, and it's more you with your expenses trying to fill in an Excel file. So it's been more like me trying and talking to a lot of people. I when I was lost, because you feel lost so many times. I had someone to call saying, okay, I have no idea of how to do this financial I don't know the balance sheet. Can you help me? Or I don't know how should I hire someone or how to do a contract. So I have an external company who helps me with all the people stuff. So surrounding myself with people who know more than I do.
Precise question is, do you think having an MBA helps, or taking a few courses, or getting advice from external consultant, or having someone on the team who's a business? Like, do you think these things are essential, or I'll let you speak to this.
Mm-hmm. I thought that it was helpful to do an MBA, but then, I was trying to apply to one here in Spain, but then my boyfriend was doing an MBA, and he told me, Sira, this is bullshit. Bullshit. Like I will rephrase it. It can be helpful, but it can be helpful if you are maybe I don't know, a more advanced profile that you are looking for something on your career, but not to be an entrepreneur. I think that you are or you are not an entrepreneur. An MBA, it's not going to make you be an entrepreneur. So maybe it's not for what it costs, which is usually a lot of money. I think it's not worth it, but it's a super personal opinion. And of course, that it really depends on the university, because I've been talking to many people who have done an MBA, and what they value, apart from the education, it's more the network and the people you meet there. So I would say this is the value that maybe you could get maybe to find a potential co-founder or a potential person to join the company. And then regarding business profiles, I would say that it really depends on the way you are. Like if you are interested on other things rather than technology or science, because I wanted to understand the market. Because if I don't understand the market, who is going to do it, and how are we going to lead the technological path? So if you have this side, I would say it's not essential at the beginning. If you don't have this ambition and you want to be more focused on the daily technological progress, which means being in the lab or maybe building the prototype, then I would hire a person more in charge of the whole vision to lead the project.
Alexandra is asking if you participated in an accelerator or an incubator.
Yes, but I participated in those that were not taking equity. So it means those that were not offering money because usually it's equity for some cash at the end of the program. But yeah, the accelerators that I was joining were more focused on what I mentioned before, like market discovery and more learnings on the business side. But it was 3 months maybe accelerator free that you could access if you were selected, and there were 10 companies joining. So I was joining these accelerators, but I think that I joined too many. So that's another thing. There's plenty of accelerators that you can find out there. So be really careful on which one do you pick, because now like every month I receive an email of a new accelerator saying, "Oh, do you want to join?" No, I'm fine. I don't want to join any more accelerator. And yeah, there were also venture builders, which are good, but maybe you need to be really sure that this is what you want, because a venture builder, it's more focused on you as a person finding a team to surround you to build the idea, or to continue with an idea. But I didn't want to I wanted to build my own thing. So the ones, I don't know, I was applying to now I don't remember the name. It's a SynBee accelerator in the US. IndieBio. I was joining IndieBio. Well, they told me that maybe I should apply. So I was in the interviews and everything. But then they told me, oh, as you don't have a co-founder you should keep 15% of equity to a potential co-founder, plus 10% of equity to employees, plus the equity that they are taking because they put a lot of money in your company. And I was like, okay, I mean, I can agree or disagree, but I don't want to be a mold as because they have this structure which can be good for some companies, but I wanted to have the freedom to maybe give 5% of a potential co-founder or 20%, not why 15. So this is super, super personal, but do what you feel comfortable with. So because so many times, I don't know, with advisors, you can get a lot of advice without giving equity. You can give a lot back afterwards. It doesn't need really to be equity, because at the beginning you can feel that you're alone, and I was feeling this, but then I got so many advisors saying, oh, I want a 2% of your company or 1%. Then it's a lot, and maybe you're not going to talk to this person anymore. So like really be careful with what you put in your company, because the ones who never asked me for equity are the best ones that I have now, and that maybe after 3 years now I want to give them equity, but it's more because I want and not because they ask, or that I don't feel 100% comfortable.
Basic question, like, if you had to start again from scratch, would you do anything differently?
Good point. That's a question that I never asked myself, so it's why I need to think. But maybe this first year that I was alone, I think I wanted to run too fast. So I mean, if you're building a technology that no one has done before, you're not gonna build it in 1 year. So I think that I was too ambitious, And I tried a prototype in field, externalizing the prototype production and just doing the tech myself in the lab. And it was a complete disaster, and I almost quit the company because I thought, oh, this doesn't work. But then I thought again, and I said, okay, that was too ambitious. So let's start step by step. So I think it's sometimes you want to run and you want to, be more, I don't know, more productive, but things take time. So this is something that I learned, and then it's true that in this first year, I hired a data scientist when we didn't have data to analyze. So I remember me trying to tell this person what to do, but then like there was nothing to do, or I was not even sure of what was needed. So hire when you need to hire, and 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 really like have a roadmap, a technological roadmap that it makes sense. This would be kind of the things that I would have done differently.
Thank you. And do you have any advice for our students here?
Yes, I mean, I have plenty, but I think that the most important thing is to really find a good business idea, which again, it seems easy, but it's super hard to have something that it makes sense, that it is solving a problem, that people are willing to pay, that it's a big enough opportunity to have a potential business. So if you are thinking that you have an idea, my recommendation would be to go to talk to the person who can be the buyers, or to the institution that can buy your solution, to really make sure that it's something valuable. And sometimes, I mean, it's you need to know which questions to ask, because usually people don't tend to tell to your face that you don't have a good idea. So try to really get honest feedback from the others. There's a book called The Mom Test, which is really, really good, and I really like. This is the first learning, or the first advice. And the second one is that you should be super, hyper, mega passionate, because otherwise it's hard. I mean, it's exciting but hard, and you can have multiple emotional status along the day. So yeah, you need to really, really be passionate and be willing to do something, because again, otherwise you're not gonna do it. And we still have a long way. So, but yeah, when you see that you're like kind of reaching some milestones, it's really nice.
So I can imagine that this should be a huge stress from time to time. How do you cope with?
Well, yeah, of course, I was feeling that I was stressed, and I was start suffering, like my back was really like bad and so on. So I used to train tennis, and I really, really like it, and I'm training again on the mornings, because I know on the afternoons I never know when I will finish work. So doing sport on the mornings, it's good, because usually people start working later than you, and you know that you have this time. So at least two mornings I'm training, and also running. I really like to run. So I feel that there are some weeks that I cannot, and I feel that my productivity is not the same. So I try to be super methodical in this sense. From my opinion, I think that it's better to be super, super productive the time that you work, but also have your life and your hobbies, and be able to balance this, And I know that there are some times now, for instance, I know that my personal life is a bit compromised because of the company, but I know that it's going to be for a short period of time because there's a reason for this. Otherwise, it should be balanced because you cannot be in a huge level of stress for a long time. For July, so I know that until July, I'm having kind of two jobs at the same time. One is fundraising and the other one is running the company. And now we are adding sales. So I'm doing multiple tasks at the same time. And it's when I feel that I cannot. But then, more like business perspective, I would say the first year that I was alone, it was market discovery. 2023, it was obsession with technology. So really building the product and not have any distraction like congresses. I was not joining any congress. I don't know, interviews to newspapers. I was rejecting everything because I didn't want to talk if we didn't have a product or something that was worth talking about. And then 2024, it was start sales. Even it was a really basic prototype with basic functionalities, but really getting out there and fundraising. So the idea is to scale sales, scale product now, and finish the validation of this second line of product.
My question is, when did you exactly decide to go for it, and at what point you were convinced that it was going to work? Like, or were you always convinced that this idea was going to be something that could become a company, or it was along the way something that gave you the hint that it was gonna work? Like, what made you decide?
Okay, so basically, I decided to incorporate the company because I received the prize. Otherwise, maybe I would postpone it. So I think sometimes you need an external trigger to really go ahead. But I think that if you are starting moving, it was like, okay, I really want to do this. I will join this program, which has a final prize, and this other program. And when you receive both prizes, it was like, okay, and I have the kind of the validation from an external source, and they told me that the money was going to the company, so it could not go to my personal account. So I said, okay, I should incorporate the company. But you always, I mean, I think that you need to be realistic if you're in science or in tech. Things can go wrong, and at some point I thought that we didn't have a technology that was feasible. I think that this is normal. So you really need to be consistent on how to validate it and how to really go from lab testing to more environmental testing to more pilot scale, blah, blah, blah. So I mean, even now that we have validated so much the technology, with this second machine, we don't have the machine out there, so I cannot ensure 100% that this is going to work, but we are pretty sure that it will work. So I think that it's something that you need to live with, and also I mean, we've changed a lot of things because these were not working, which I think that it's fine. You just need to, to be cool with not having a perfect technology and redefining the technology along the way.
Okay, when you competed for these prizes, to win these prizes, you need to be at least a bit convinced. So were you already I mean, you said that it would like a push, a help from this to win this prize. But to win the prize first, you need to show that you're convinced it's gonna work. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but it really depends on the prize. This program, it was more like to find a co-founder, and it was for ideas. So
Okay.
I was only applying to idea-based programs. I was not applying to programs that ask you for an MVP or to anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.